Listen, Pepper Shaker, I don't like where this is going, so I'm giving you one last polite suggestion. Piss off.
How rude!
Mouse PI for Hire has been on my wishlist for a very long time. And now it's finally out, this long-awaited shooter that is entirely hand-drawn in a 1930s Disney-like style. And the question now of course is this game more than just style, and is it actually fun to play? Well, glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you right here, right now. In Mouse PI for Hire you play as Detective Jack Pepper, a veteran who is now a detective in the city of Mouseburg. The story starts with Jack on a Zeppelin chasing a bad guy, but when he tumbles down during that chase, the game rewinds to a few weeks earlier, to the beginning of the story.
What a crappy...
And it all starts with Jack having to investigate the disappearance of Steve Bandel, an old war friend of Jack who has become a stage magician after the war. But it soon becomes clear that there is more to that disappearance, and Jack gets entangled in a massive conspiracy that holds the entire city in its grip, involving corrupt cops, kidnappings, the mafia, cults and dangerous political factions. In this story, alongside the disappearance, you also investigate the death of Steve Bandel's assistant, as well as a sort of hunt for shrews, mice that are always considered inferior in the town of Mouseburg due to their length and are now being hunted and captured for dark purposes. To be honest, I found the plot a bit confusing, partly because everything is mixed up and I still don't fully understand some things. Despite having a clue board that allows you to connect clues and ultimately the cases in a classic detective style, it was sometimes all a bit vague and difficult to follow. It only becomes a little clearer towards the end, but it remains a story that is messy at times. Fortunately, it is a story told in a very entertaining way, and because of that I kept playing the missions with great pleasure, even though sometimes I had no idea exactly what I was doing and why. The game is packed with fun characters and funny dialogue.
Here, your cut.
Wow, what a score. You know, it might even be enough for 2 pairs of socks.
And the game is also full of references such as to Popeye, Resident Evil, Doom, and even an homage to that other 1930s cartoon style game from a few years ago, Cuphead.
Everyone, and I need everyone.
And much more, but I won't spoil them all, because there are too many to mention.
These references are gonna get old real fast.
But more serious themes, such as racism directed at shrews, are also well executed, making the story more than just funny pop culture references and a standard detective story full of cheese references.
Oh, that voice. Not a contralto, the contralto. Thick, rough. Like Gorgonzola picante slapped on a mozzarella platter.
What the hell is even that?
At its core, Mouse PI for Hire is a boomer shooter, so a first-person shooter with high-paced movement. And for the majority of the game you will be doing a lot of blasting as you jump, run and dash through the arenas with standard weapons like a pistol, shotgun and machine gun, but also more specialized weapons like an acid gun and chainsaw. I will come back to those more unique weapons later. Besides the shooting, you will occasionally have to platform using various abilities you learn throughout the story, such as double jump, hovering and the grappling hook for example. That works fine in itself, although the game does tend to miss the grappling hook in particular sometimes, which is occasionally frustrating. And this shooting works wonderfully, partly due to the smooth movement and how the weapons feel. It is really put together beautifully. As a result, the action is always fast and fluid, and that is a must to get right in this type of shooters. But is it then just shooting an occasional bit of platforming? Well, actually yes, although you will also have to engage in the necessary conversations, which are a highlight in themselves because they are so much fun. But you can also collect plenty of collectibles, upgrade weapons, do some puzzles, for example while lockpicking. And there's a fun card game you can play with collected cards in the game world. But as mentioned, at its core, Mouse is a boomer shooter and that aspect is handled incredibly well, although not perfectly.
Oh really? Please, enlighten me.
For instance, enemies spawn through doors in a level, and sometimes this creates bottlenecks, meaning you can basically spawn kill enemies. And sometimes they get stuck due to the AI and you will end up cheesing entire shootouts, pun intended. Another downside is that once you have completed a level, you can no longer return to those areas for side quests or collectibles, even though that impression is given when you drive from level to level in a sort of overworld. And on top of that, there are those special weapons such as the freeze gun and the chainsaw, but the issue with that is that you only get those weapons very late in the game, meaning you barely play with them. Additionally, the machine gun, which is called the James gun here, is so overpowered that you actually don't need any other weapons. When fully upgraded, the James gun has large magazines, fires quickly without too much recoil, and works very well at long and short range with a lot of damage. In short, I mainly used that weapon, occasionally switched to the acid gun, pistol or shotgun, and I hardly used any other weapon, partly because I didn't need them and they weren't ingrained in my system since you only find them so late. The presentation is for me the absolute highlight of this game. As you have probably already noticed, this game is like a 1930s Disney style animation movie, entirely in black and white. And that style works incredibly well, and the way they have incorporated 2D characters in the 3D world is particularly well done.
Hey, never heard of patience?
Ever heard a move?
But it's also full of really fun details. For instance, there are various death animations of enemies that never get old. Although the animation where the skeletons collapse after dying from the acid gun is accompanied by the audio like your AirPods are out of juice, which had me like.
Where's my snare?
But also smaller details, for example, that you encounter in the world, some of which also humorously indicate that there might be something to discover behind a wall.
Pretty sure the fire department frowns on stuffing firecrackers into wooden attics.
Or how the ammo counter has an evil laugh when you make a kill, and the continuous little wobbly animations of everything in the world. Or the enemy catchphrases, those are funny too, especially with the classic mafia phrases.
Forget about it.
And besides that, the music is really awesome, starting as soon as you launch the game. That tune is now living rent-free in my head. But also other details in the music, such as how the record comes to a scratching halt when you pause the game or save through a typewriter.
Very nice indeed.
Mouse PI for Hire has turned out really dope. The style works out great and never gets boring. The game briefly teases what it would look like in color, by the way, and that is cool too, but the black and white style was definitely the best choice. The characters are cool, the gameplay is fun, and the 12 to 14 hours it takes to complete the game are hours of pure enjoyment. For me, it is a game that scores just below a 9, mainly due to the frustrating platforming action and the fact that you get too many weapons too late, meaning you essentially only use the machine gun. But even so, I'd highly recommend Mouse PI for Hire, and I give it an 8.8. Check it out. And with that, we come to the end of this review. What did you think of Mouse PI for Hire? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, that helps my channel immensely. For live gameplay you can check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/gameplayofjay, and don't forget to follow me there too. For more content, check out the suggestions on the left or the channel on the right. For now, thanks for watching, see you in the next video, bye!